Welcome back to the Driftworks workshop. Today I'm doing a bit on the 964 Turbo and Jay's cracking on with some of the work on the Murcielago. So, as of this morning, got a new dyno date for this. I'm guessing that'll probably be maybe a couple of videos time for you guys, but we are working on a few little things here. As you can see, Jay's got the bat wings down. That's basically a reset procedure, did you say? Yeah,
it is, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have control of them yet because it does require a CAN connection to the GFA box, and we're struggling
whatever it's power distribution box or something it is, yeah.
Yeah, so, but what we obviously didn't think of, and Haltech were very quick to tell us, was that we have an unused PDM in this car.
Well,
essentially
I didn't think we had outputs that could drive in both directions.
Yeah, because
that we do.
Because those are ECU related, aren't they? But actually the PDM has loads of outputs and can potentially control these independently, wired separately, to go up and down with the stop position set and the bottom position set, and we can set all sorts of stuff like standard Murcielago stuff where they go up at a certain temperature, automatically come down at a certain speed, all that stuff we should be able to configure, but obviously there's a bit more work again. We're jacked up here at the moment because I'm going to look into improving cooling for the dyno, but also I just wonder whether
it is ducted.
Yeah, I wondered whether there's an issue with the ducting because of arch liners and stuff like that with this, because the air comes through here for the radiators and scoops down, and the radiators kind of sit at the back here. I wondered whether I'd forgotten to put back in an arch liner, and that was potentially causing sort of the direction of air to go the wrong way, not enough positive pressure in front of the radiator, all that stuff. But no, it looks fine. It just is a very hot car.
Okay.
But anyway, this is kind of under control. I am working on the 964. I was here till about 10 past 10 last night. Came back because I'm super excited about a parcel I received from Numeric. I've got a Numeric Shifter in my GT3, and it is night and day difference on the shifting. Absolutely superb. I used to have one in the blue GT3. In fact, let's go point our camera at that. Blue GT3. So daily in this at the moment, and so excuse the terrible painted top on this. I still need to get this refinished, but yeah, shifter in this. When I first owned the car, I'd fitted a Numeric shifter and cables, and it was absolutely superb. It's a little bit noisier because of the cables, but you know, if you want, you know, a superbly solid shifter, standard throw I've got it set to as well. This underneath here is, let me see what I can do without breaking it. This underneath here, as you can see, is super fancy billet and roller bearing everything shifter. It's a real shame to hide it in some ways, but I actually really love the fact that it is completely hidden and covert. It's just something that goes on underneath the standard shifter boot. But yeah, this is the best mod that you can do for shifting on a GT3 and loads of other Porsches as well, and I had no idea that they did one for the 964 as well. I'm not sure if it's relatively new. Before I do that as well, I completely forgot, or actually I decided not to show you that I made an exhaust tip for this. It was my first actual go at TIG welding, and yeah, I did a pretty terrible job of the TIG welding, but a reasonable job of the fabrication. Got away with it because it's painted matte black, so it looks absolutely fine. But yeah, this was kind of like a spontaneous thing I decided to do, just making this. I think they're a little bit too big. They are dual 4-inch. I think it needs to be dual 3.5-inch. But for a quick sort of day of faffing about fabricating and welding, pretty happy with it compared to the standard weak tips that you get on these things. Got some more ideas for exhaust stuff, but that's coming soon. And yeah, here's the 964 version of that shifter. Had to do a bit of assembly here. Very strange system, but when you look at, first of all, let's have a look at some nice pieces. And that gets rid of the shift boot as well. This is a adjustable linkage bar here. Apparently this gets rid of like 85% of the slop, and that's an extra sort of 15%. Their fitting videos are very good, but yeah, it replaces this, which is bizarre and very, very badly worn out with the bushes gone there. And that's just the bracing end of it, so the other end of it, the shifter that goes back to the gearbox is here. So I guess I should probably just crack on with that. What's Dad here for?
Oh, I need assistance. It's not making sense as I hoped it would. And then I've got these 2 pins here. Right.
A few minutes help from Craig.
A few minutes. We didn't really get any further, did we?
No, but he was here for a while we tried to work some stuff out. So you got a plan now. By the way, this is all so that we can work out the best way to do the bat wings, to get them up and down as we want to, without them cracking the quarter panels as they go up.
The switch is easy. That's just a switch.
Yeah.
The Haltech will see that as a latch. It's not a problem. It's the stopping them at the top and bottom. Driving them's easy.
So currently we're working on the idea that with the PDM we can register an over ampage basically.
Hopefully you'll see some sort of current.
Yeah. So when
it's straining.
Yeah. So when the motor gets to the top and it kind of starts to strain before it really starts hammering it and cracks the quarter, which has happened in the past and is starting to happen a little bit already. Joy. This will actually sense the load and in theory stop the motor.
We can set a condition then to turn off. But
it's all a bit of a guessing game.
I mean, until I wire it up and start making it move, I don't really know what's going to happen.
And to do that, we've got to hack into the Lambo loom a bit. But, you know, you just love wiring. It's your thing now.
I don't mind it. It's not my least favourite thing.
No, there are worse things to do. And to be honest with you, dude, you're getting pretty good at it as well.
Try.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully we'll have a plan for these and, you know, we might be able to have some control over them without it being too difficult.
Or at least a button to put them up and down.
That would be nice. That's all that I ultimately want. If I just had the button that is on the center console here, which is this one, if I could just press that and they go up and press it and it goes down, then that is job one. The rest, the automation, I don't know, might be simple, might not, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, back to this. So I haven't watched the instructions on this bit, but my plan is to just make this the same length as this and try and get the orientation right. I guess if you kind of get this bit wrong, then your lever might be too far forwards. I actually want it a little bit further back than it is a stock if possible, but there's always the worry that the lever will crash into like this or another part underneath it or something. So for the start of it, I'm going to probably just make it exactly the same as this with the boots. So that bit's done and ready. I think I'm going to put the shifter in before I actually fit that though. So I guess I better bring the car down. Ready to snap something?
Well, I've got it halfway up, and I've only got it to run for 1 second after we press the switch, just to see what happens. So, if all goes well, it'll go up for 1 second, we'll press the switch again, and it'll go down for 1 second.
Okay.
See what happens.
And do you want me to man the emergency battery cut-off? What do you want to do?
I was going to go with the key, but you can run the... Yeah, do the cut-off, that's definitely more likely to kill everything, isn't it?
Oh, it's coming up.
Is it?
Yep. And now it's coming down. And that's going up. And that's going down. Up.
Okay, so we just need to figure out how to stop it in the right position then.
Just simply.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, that's the button. That's the correct button.
Going up for 1 second, down for 1 second. We just need to figure out the stops. Okay, that's positive.
Expert level, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure why, but I had to reverse the boot on this. This was hanging too low to allow the boot to go up and meet up here. So I don't think it's a problem. I've just tested it that way around, and obviously that way around. And obviously the rod towards the front of the car isn't there anymore, so that's fine. I think it's going to work. It's close, that is, but should clear fine. And there is a little bit of a recess in here anyway. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Just gonna lock this off with a cable tie, stop a bit of dirt getting into it, and then maybe the same for the holes there where the old shifter mechanism went through. And yeah, should be able to see how this feels now. Deadly serious. We've come into the office to get help from our CTO.
So that one.
Powerful this though, once again, isn't it? It seems like we might be able to create some conditions that allow us to use the amperage like we're hoping to stop it when it's meeting a little bit of resistance on the top and bottom, but
the cracking resistance.
The cracking, the lovely carbon fibre noise that we've experienced at least twice today already.
So far.
That's a very technical diagram, Ed.
So either time.
That's the underside all tied back up again, and I've got one more job to do while I'm underneath here. I have super fancy exhaust manifolds, headers here, made by Promodet, and Turbo Smart wastegate here. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I replaced the boost control solenoid, the Mac valve on this car, from a 3-port to a fancy new Haltech 4-port version, with the intention of reducing the amount of boost that this car runs in first gear and maybe a tiny bit in second gear as well, so I can actually get the power down a little bit more. It is, whatever it is, 600 wheel horsepower, slightly less than that. And yeah, it just kind of spins away the speed a little bit in the lower gears. So yeah, when we originally mapped this, it was done, I think we set the base spring at like 1.1 bar, 1.2 bar, something like that. But to do what I need to do, I've got to reduce the overall pressure, either by removing one of the springs that's in there, because I can't remember what I put in, or changing the spring out to something else. Yellow one on the inside and a blue, so I just need to go and have a look at the chart. So yeah, that was a 14 psi, that was a 5 psi, yeah, 5 psi. So I'm going to get rid of the 14 psi and go for a 7 psi and 5 psi. Hopefully that should get me about where I need to be, and hopefully the Mac valve can control it all properly. time to swap dailies and time to hope that the electric AC on this is still as half good as it was, because it was never brilliant, but it was adequate, because actually it's sunny outside for a change. Let's have a nice weekend. So I drove this home on Friday in a bit of a rush to collect my little one from nursery. Forgot to bring the laptop. Got about 0.9 bar of boost, which is more than I'd expect. But yeah, forgot the laptop, so I couldn't turn boost control off. So I'm just going to disconnect the Mac valve for now and drive back to work, see what boost it makes on wastegate springs, because I have a feeling it might need a bit more spring taken out of it to get down to like the 0.7 bar that I want in first gear. We'll see though, eh? I'll put the camera down, unplug that and get to work. Oh, and the shifter's a massive improvement, but I think I'm slightly out of adjustment. I think this is a little bit too far forward. So the gears where you push forward, I think it's going into gear, but it feels like it just needs a little bit more room to be a little bit more precise. It's quite a weird thing because it's got quite that long aluminium rod that goes to the gearbox, not the shifter cable, so it definitely feels different to the GT3 shifter, but it is so much more positive. It's superb. So yeah, little adjustment on that and that should be good. Right, I got you pointing at the can checked. Conveniently, the speedo's not set up. Bit of second gear. It still has a rev limiter set in the lower gears because the gears aren't set up on this. So yeah, I think we've still got, I didn't actually clock them because I'm too busy hanging on, paying attention to what I'm doing, but I think there was like a 6,500 RPM limiter in first gear set, and I believe when the speed and gearing isn't calculated on this, it might be applying that to all gears until I do the next bit of setup to calibrate the speed, set the gearing, and then I can potentially start working on the boost strategy by gear. It certainly seems to put down the power a lot better. Yeah, that's just churning the tyres, just you can feel that kind of optimal level of slip where the tyre is just hanging on for dear life, so that's promising. Back on the ramp, so yeah, as you probably saw in the video, that made 0.8 bar of boost, and that was actually limited up to 6,000 RPM because we haven't got the speed input, as I was talking about. So that'll all be sorted shortly, but I am gonna change the springs in here, possibly just remove the 5 PSI spring that is in the middle, because I would like to be able to bring this right down and have like a full wet weather setting. And I do still believe that 0.8 bar is too much in first gear for this thing, even in the dry really. So yeah, gonna pull that out, won't bother showing you because you've seen me struggle with it before. Then I'm going to take the covers off again, quickly adjust the shifter linkage rod here, and that should be done, ready for tomorrow. Jay's back in then. I'll see whether we've got enough time away from finishing the Lambo, see back there, for him to come and sit in the seat and press some buttons whilst I drive this so we can get the gear set up. Back on the floor. I'm sure I'll need to get it back on the ramp again in a moment because the wastegate spring I just used was kind of a bit of an unknown out of Jay's Turbo Smart box, which he's got a ProGate 60 on his Mustang. And yeah, I think the spring is supposedly an 11 psi spring, and it already had a 12 in it, but yeah, we'll see. Felt a bit easy to push the wastegate back together, so we shall see. I've got one more job to do. So I started this job at home, don't laugh. Started over the weekend. I need a phone holder, reachable by my left hand, because I'm left-handed and fussy. And a very curvy dash with not many places to stick stuff. So the idea is going to have something like this. Oh, it's blurry. Slightly better. Yeah, something like this with an extra bend in it. All I've got at home is a very blunt hacksaw, a pair of pliers and a hammer. So I got that far and gave up. Time to use some power tools. I wasn't going to bother showing you this, but yes, wrong wastegate spring. It's only running about 0.3 bar, and yeah, it sounds hilarious because the gate's just open. And it's incredibly slow. Yeah, it sounds funny. Yeah, back to the drawing board on the wastegate spring then. We're doing it.
We're trying.
Some quick maths. We've got the speedo working. We've got that calibrated. Not that you can really see in this light. But yeah, so my speedo works now here when we're moving. We're just doing the gear calculation, so we're having to hold a pretty precise RPM. And then Jay, are you typing in a number?
I am now. We did press the calibrate button, but then messed it up. So
yeah.
I'll add, this is much easier to do on the ramp with your gearbox.
It is.
Yeah. Which
we don't have an option for on this because it's using the front left wheel speed sensor, not the drivetrain. So yeah, we would love to be able to do it on the ramp, but this will do.
Yeah.
Bit of a Tisley danger zone. You know, we're not going fast. It's just
right. We're in neutral. Let's see if it works. Okay, so I hold that and you drive.
Sweet.
It doesn't think we're in first yet.
Does it not?
No, it's sort of thinking about it. Yeah, that's first now.
Yeah, I'll hang out the revs a little bit.
Yeah, that second was good.
Yeah.
Third's good. Fourth's a bit slow but good. And fifth's good, yeah. Yeah, the first could do with maybe that second again, yeah.
First needs a little bit more work.
I think, yeah, we could probably do that on our estate though. Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close anyway on the rest of them.
Sweet. That'll do. Jay's back in the house. We need to do some cooling work, and I've decided that I've got a potentially interesting idea, and that is this is a separate panel in the back here. And it's just held on by two 10 mils or something like that, and then it's got a wire for the third brake light. I think I'm going to take that out and create a really ugly, horrible, very, very, very temporary, because I know you guys, you want me to use, all want me to have a Diablo intake, which I do think is cool, but I don't really like things like poking up out of here, like the Diablo GTR thing. You've seen it?
Yeah.
It's pretty sick, but yeah. Anyway, something temporary for the dyno that is basically a massive plastic ugly scoop or cardboard, as Jay says, that just directs air from the massive fan at the front of the car that will go over the roof and directly in to here, and hopefully that will sort out the IATs and potentially the additional heat that might have contributed to melting those wires on the previous attempt. But yeah, that's the plan that we're working on now, plus a few other little bits and bobs, like the motors were kind of baggy where they attach onto these. So Jay's are doing a bit of machining, making up some spacers.
Lathing, just to
lathing, that's what you got to call it, yeah. Making up some spacers that are the wrong size and now remaking them again.
Yeah, well, they were the right size on that side. No, but because I made four, they're the different size on this side.
Of course, why wouldn't they be? Wastegate spring change number 3. It's not too bad a job now that I've done it a few times. So much so that I couldn't be bothered to get it on the lift because it's quite a nightmare to get this car on the 2-poster. Fingers crossed this works out to around about where I want to be, which is about 0.7 bar. Go and give it a go. Fast. Did not check boost readings there because hanging on for dear life.
Basically done.
I mean, we'll just keep it like that, maybe, won't we?
Cover in resin, call it carbon.
Yeah.
Just what you dreamed of?
Not quite. No, well, yeah, it is, to be fair. So I think that will direct some air, definitely, won't it? I think yeah, I think that's part of the problem. Is it's going to have some kind of attachment. Are you keeping it cardboard?
I don't know. Not ideal.
Maybe plastic?
Yeah, plastic.
Yeah, we have got
plastic.
loads of that, haven't we? So it also looks like it cuts off a bit quickly. So it might be one of those where we're better off taking off the engine cover so it can have like a more gentle angle here.
Well, you can lift this and then, curve that.
Yeah, that type of thing would be better, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's just whether... No, that would probably work. That would probably work, wouldn't it? Yeah, because we had the engine cover up anyway on the dyno, didn't we? Yeah.
I don't know if that's better or not, to be fair, with air going in.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? But that's definitely too vertical there. It needs to be feeding all the trumpets, really. So
I was going to just cut it shorter, but yeah.
All right. She's a beauty. Look at that.
Go around the back.
The internet's going to want it, you know it.
Don't look at it from the back. Or the side. Oh, look at it.
I mean, is that going to do a flopper as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks nicely protected. We decided a little bit of foam along the sides here, keeping the tape on, probably a good idea. I think that is functional for the dyno. I mean, that is...
Well, you know, it's
strong.
Else made you decide that you can never fit a roof vent.
Well, I already knew that. The internet keeps telling me I need a roof vent, a roof intake, but yeah, we know that's not the case.
About as good as a rally car.
Yeah. I haven't actually, definitely not in this video, but I haven't actually shown my plan for an airbox with this, so we'll just briefly do that. See those there? They're the standard air filters. On the bottom half is an air filter. On the top is a lid that screws down onto that. And my idea is that it's got one of these either side. Remake the lids. Not me, obviously, but somebody who knows what they're doing. Remake the lids with a single outlet and then create an airbox around these trumpets. We've already dyno tuned the length of these for the perfect intake runner length. So it kind of just needs an airbox surround making with funnels basically to each side of the engine here.
It's fed nicely through.
Yeah, it's fed through this point here. So it is forced air induction and already filtered. And yeah, I know it sounds ridiculous to say something like this with a car like this, but it's a relatively simple design to achieve what I want. I do have another idea that I would like to include if there was the possibility of it, and that is a glass upper section, sort of not the whole top of the carbon airbox, but a sectioned out bit of a glass so that you can still see the ITBs, but whether that's...
have that removal for cleaning.
Yes, I think so, yeah, because well, it'd be good for viewing the fire as well, wouldn't it?
So when they start spitting black and it all goes black, then you're going to be
yeah, but that is definitely a would be nice, but first I got to persuade somebody that they want to take on a job like this, because even though it's simple, it's still custom work on a carbon airbox. So yeah, that's a beauty and ready to go. The other thing we've decided is we've got the back wings up just for the dyno. We're going to do it properly. We're going to use some Haltech components.
We're going to try and use a shock travel sensor. Yeah,
a linear position sensor, which is probably what I should have thought about in the first place. Going to attach it to the motor that's on here, and we, you know, it's going to be a bit of fabrication, but that's for later.
In worst case, we'll put a micro switch top and bottom.
Yeah, which I was kind of also thinking about, but it's just another thing to go wrong. I guess the linear position sensor can go wrong too, but
yeah.
I'm sure some people in the comments will tell us that we're stupid and yeah, we could have done this, but you know, yes, please do. Yeah, please do, because this is we're not touching this for a bit, other than obviously going to the dyno. Once it gets back from the dyno, we'll be losing the lovely roof scoop and sorting out the bat wings. And the 964, so wastegate springs, I think that I'm at 0.7 bar, just tickling to 0.8 bar, and I think that's as good as it's going to get. I think that's kind of where I need to be, because the 4-port MAC valve boost control system apparently can do double the spring rate of the wastegate. Relatively simply. Anything more than that, it might start to become a problem with boost fluctuating and stuff like that. So yeah, if I'm 0.7 bar at its lowest and 1.4 bar, which is what it was mapped to at its highest, then it should give me the best of both worlds, hopefully. Still got to get round to sorting out the actual settings for boosting each gear, but I've got to finish editing this video because it needs to go out to you guys in about 2 hours. I'm rushing a little bit. Oh yeah, the absolutely enthralling job that I'm sure you're all waiting on the edge of your seat to see completed is my phone holder, which I'm chuffed with. That's charging type 1 as well, so I've got to do a bit of wiring for that. That's probably about it. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for joining us on our slightly random, I think it's like 8 days of filming random bits as we do it, and forgetting to film many bits as well as usual. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for shopping at driftworks.com, and we'll catch you in the next one.